So this next demonstration is a type of technique you guys can use for your portraiture. I want you guys to do one portrait, find an image online that you like. You can look at it and you can either do this unidirectional technique that I'm about to show you, or you could go back to the planar technique that we've already done and add value with your black, your white, and your Conti red. So here's the image I found that I worked for this demonstration. When you're starting this technique, you're going to find a direction to work in. So I work with a strong left to right motion. So all of my marks in this technique until the end are going to move in that directional. Mine is a diagonal directional movement. You can work left to right, you can work horizontal, you can work vertical. But once you pick a direction to move, all of the preceding colors you add need to move in that direction. Now you'll notice in this demonstration that I start with cool colors, and the first color I chose was just slightly off the color of the toned paper I had. That way I have the most ability for mistakes, for not having proportions correct. I kind of overshoot my scale and my patterns. So right here, I'm just generally laying in and massing in those values for the eye sockets, not just the eyes, but the entire socket. Like think about the skull, the value under the nose, the value on the upper lip. The upper lip almost always is the darker lip because light sources almost always come from above. And then I'm just mapping generally the value patterns of the darks. The next color I've picked up is that green. So I'm sticking with purples, greens, blues. I want to start with cool colors because shadows recede. So we want to do those first. We want to start from the back of the image and work forward. So I will be working through my cool colors to my warm colors, and then I end with high contrast. So I'll do whites and blacks at the end. So here I've picked up a green, and each time I pick up a new color, I decrease the line's scale. So let me back up a little to the green right here. So the green has gotten a little bit more specific than that first layer of the blue. The marks are still moving in the same direction, and you're having to combine body parts through shadow. So sometimes the shadows combine, and that's what this technique helps you see. Also, I want you to really be clear about where you start your edge of your value. So right here, I'll start on the edge of the nose because there's a strong edge there. So I'll start that value pattern along the edge that I want to emphasize. Or if I want to emphasize a brow, I might start on the brow and pull away. If I want to emphasize this cheekbone, I might start on that cheekbone and pull away or pull into the shadow. Right here you can tell I've started along the edge of the back of the cheek and pulled into the ear zone. So where you start and end is really significant. So be aware of how you start each color. As you can see in my hand now is a purple. And this layer will get even more specific. So it's really broad and general, and each pencil I pick up, I'm looking for more and more specific value. So I'm starting to emphasize the eyes, but really generally. I'm starting to emphasize that edge of the lip. I'm starting to get under the nose. It's still not incredibly detailed, but you can tell I'm like getting the turtleneck in. I'm emphasizing the value of the ears here and maybe the hairline. So whatever you're doing, you're still always looking at value. Just keep allowing this image to get darker. And you're going to move from cool colors to warm colors. So now I've shifted into that warm red. Let me back this up a little. Okay, so I've moved into a sort of a red sienna. I'm still just thinking about dark patterns and I'm sort of leaving more tone of the paper where highlights exist. I'm just building up values. And I'm not using these colors equally. Sometimes I'm laying on the red real heavily and sometimes I'm using it lightly. So make sure that you're negotiating pressure. You don't have to put heavy pressure everywhere. Whatever's in your hand, think about how its value can help you or how its temperature. So on this one, my left side is reading as warmer and my right side is slightly cooler. So you can also think about distributing your color this way. So now I've moved into my red. I've moved from the burnt sienna to a brighter red. Red is going to help you really warm up certain areas of the portrait, things like the nose, the eyes, the lips. A lot of blood literally pulls in these body parts. So those are great places to put a really bright red. Anything in the body that projects forward, so the nose, the forehead, the lips, the cheekbones, these things project forward on a portrait. So I never feel bad about putting a really warm color like a red in. Then I moved to my light. Now I've been doing colored pencils and this white I have is my Conti. And these two materials really kind of reject each other. So if you're going to do what I did, you're going to have to really lay the white on. You can also do this whole project with pastels from beginning to end and everything mixes better. It's just messier. But use whatever you have. So here I'm only looking at the highlights. So I'm looking at the top of the nose. This is like the highest portion of the body right here. I'm always looking at brow. This is also very high. I'm looking at cheekbones right here. And I'm looking at that bottom lip because the bottom lip catches a lot of light. I'm also using my white now to get around and silhouette the head so it really gives a little form to the portrait. This last move is after you've moved through all your colors, and I've limited the color range in this one, but you can move through pinks and yellows and oranges. You can move through every color and it only makes a better image in my opinion. But I've gone ahead and moved into my black. Whenever you move into your black, this is the only time in which you can eliminate that directional motion. So now I'm just drawing with my black in any direction that I deem necessary. So sometimes I'm outlining, sometimes I'm just filling in, but I am no longer worried about that left to right diagonal that I had created up until this point. This is your chance to really get contour going. So now at the end, this is the only time that I should see line that is moving away from that unidirectional mark. Okay, hope that helps you guys for this portrait. You can do any portrait style you want. I just wanted to teach you another method. Okay, good luck.